Cody?
Flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Here. Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the moment of silence tonight, I just wanted to acknowledge a former coworker of mine, Public Works Director of West Ridge, who did the work, passed away suddenly this weekend. Wasn't good enough, maybe he was a great guy. Great Public Works Director, Mark Miller, worked with him often, and my condolences to all family.
What is this? Oh, okay.
Well, Mr. Chair, you were on a timer tonight. My fellow supervisors have agreed that some dispatch is being pretty easy tonight, so we're going to watch it.
I'll speak slowly and clearly. Yeah, I always hold it up.
It's summertime.
All right, this is hybrid BOS meeting. Public comment is handled the way we always do. Comment from the board, comment from people in the room, and then comment from anyone on Zoom who puts their hand up. We should announce that this is being recorded on Zoom. A recording will be uploaded to the township's YouTube channel for viewing. Chairman's report, the rescheduled community day will be Saturday, August 26th, starting at 5 p.m. Fireworks will be held that night. You're all welcome. Emergency services reports, we have none. Public hearings, we have none. Financial report, we have none. I'll take a motion on the minutes.
No minute.
I'm sorry, on the treasurer's report. Not reading ahead fast enough, huh?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the receipts and approved expenditures as presented in the expenditure register and summarized in the treasurer's report.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No questions here.
Comments or questions on the treasurer's report? Dave, is there anything in there we should have noticed?
Just a couple updates. We were talking about tree update. We are at cost of trees, that is. 88,500 for Travis Warner's removals and roughly 100,000 public works.
That's just this year?
Year-to-date.
Holy mackerel. $188,000.
Is there any breakout of that cost that we can attribute to either storms, Emerald Ash Borer, or other? Has there been any kind of separation, just to see a breakout,
Not at this time. I mean, that's something that we can look at trying to get more granular on. As far as I know, it's been across, it hasn't just been the ash trees, it's been sycamore trees, it's been a number of different types of trees that are just getting old or coming down in our right of ways. And then there's just the regular tree trimming and analysis by Bartlett's that comes in when people have questions.
Well, that's the most dramatic, and especially 7 months into the new year.
I think it's also because we really have not quantified the public works time yet. I mean, this is pretty much on par for budget with what we thought last year. But we never took public works time into that consideration,
And obviously that's important.
and equipment rental too. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
All right, any questions from the floor? No hands are up on Zoom, so I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Passes.
Dave.
I will note, and I should have noted that in my chairman's report, we do not have Michelle Pruitt with us tonight. Michelle is on vacation. As long as we can get a 3-1 vote, we can still pass whatever motion comes up.
Yeah.
Old business, none, new business, discussion and possible approval of the Matrix Police Study contract in conjunction with Westtown Township.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is essentially, this is a subject we've talked about for over 2 years in my tenure here, possibly longer. You've been here longer than I have, some of you. So this is this would be a joint process by East Goshen and Westtown Townships. We did put in a request for qualifications, John Altshaw and I, a few months back. We received we put it out to about 7 or 8 firms. I have to check on that. But we did receive one back from the Matrix Group. Matrix Group is a well-known national firm. They did respond to a request for qualifications. We had some subsequent meetings where board members were able to ask questions of Matrix about the process, about exactly what the study would entail. I think it was agreed upon that it mostly is hyper-focused on a staffing study, even if there are other things on the peripheral. And so this is essentially, this is the contract and this is the RFQ that has been proposed to the board. Westtown, they usually meet the day before, but this is one of those weird months where they meet the week after, because yesterday was July 31st. So they have not acted on this yet. They will be hopefully having it on their discussion agenda for next week. So this is approximately $32,000, $32,000 and change for East Goshen half. It would be 50% each for Westtown and us. And again, the qualifications are laid out there. It's been talked about for quite a while, and I welcome discussion from the board. There is a draft motion on the table if you would want to approve the contract tonight going forward. I can say at the last commission meeting, the chief did request that implementation of the study be delayed due to the department going through some software changes now, and the immediate administrative staff is tied up with that. So I just wanted to note that, and I will allow the board to discuss.
Mr. Chair, I'd move we accept the proposal from Matrix Consulting Group to evaluate Westtown, East Goshen Police Department and authorize the township manager to sign the contract for cost not to exceed $61,500 split between the two municipalities.
It's actually $65,100.
$65,100 split between the two partner municipalities.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All
I have
right,
I have no comment.
comments from the board? Comments from?
Yes, sir.
Step up to the microphone, please. I recognize you, but you should give your name and address.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Ragney. I work with the Westtown East Goshen Police Department. I've been with the department for 32 years. I'm the president of the Police Association. There are some concerns about the study. I think it's a good idea. Study's a good idea. But with the information that we obtained from the study, we want it to be useful. And if the process of picking the company could be challenged in some ways, it could hurt the whole process. And it's been brought to my attention that the process itself was a little off. And I'll explain a couple reasons why it's off or may appear to be off. So the RFQ, the request for qualification, was sent out to 8 companies. Only 1 company responded. That's a little odd in this day and age for companies that are in this business to do these studies, that only 1 company would respond. So as a result of that, I spoke to some people that were in this line of business, and we've heard some information from some of the companies that declined to respond, and they were saying that the RFQ was a little confusing. I don't know if that's true or not, but it just should be something that's noted. The company that responded, the Matrix, just completed a study out in Pittsburgh, where that department is being challenged with how they came in contact with Matrix. Now, usually, the other issue is that usually when we're looking for someone to do something like this for the townships, a bid goes out, right? This was an invitation. This was specific companies sought out with the RFQ to hopefully have a couple of them come in and give their qualifications and, bid for the job. That could potentially be challenged. And you might be thinking to yourself, why do I care? Right? Well, if good information comes out of this study, it's beneficial not only for the townships, but it could also be beneficial for the police association, or the police department with staffing and stuff like that. So I just don't want to see the townships jump into something unless it's right. We're spending considerable amount of money to get these studies done. And I think it'd be worth looking into just a little bit more before we go ahead with this company. And another question that's been asked in the past but couldn't be answered is that usually when you hire one of these companies, there's a task or a goal or a problem. I'm just wanted on the record tonight that if it's any one of those things and if the police association can help, we're here to help. Because sometimes if there's a problem and you're not conveying it to us, then we can't help fix it. And I just want that on the record. And I offered it last week at the police commission meeting, and I haven't had anybody reach out to me. And then the predominant reason for this study is staffing, but no one's ever said, what about staffing? Like, what are you looking for? And another issue with this whole process is the request for proposal. What were these companies asked to analyze and study? Nobody can answer that question. Was that done via telephone call, a Zoom call, a conference call? Is there any paperwork, emails, agendas that would show what these companies were asked for? And of course, you can understand why it's a concern for us, right? It's our livelihood, it's our life. And we just want to make sure it's being done right. In hindsight, Pittsburgh probably regrets some of the things that they did. I'm not saying that they were wrong, but maybe there were some things in the process that they could have done better. I think we should learn from Pittsburgh because now they're starting to feel the heat. And also wanted to prepare that to the board also, because when these studies come out, whatever they say, good or bad, there's always going to be someone throwing the heat at you about something. And then once again, if there's anything that I can do to help, you know how to get a hold of me. I just wanted that to be on the record tonight. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. And does anybody have any questions for me?
On board? Apparently not. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
I will say one or two things. It won't be a long speech. I think we all appreciate the work that the police department does, and we don't have a concern about that. We focused on staffing because when I was commissioner and now that Michelle has been commissioner for over a year, we got repeated requests for more full-time officers. And we don't know if we need them or not. We did give the chief the officers she asked for, and we still don't know if that was necessary or not. So that's the reason for the study. I don't know how else we could have done the bidding or the request for P, but you tell me, Derek, did we reach out?
No, I think what Mike was referring to is that there's a two-step process sometimes. There's a request for qualifications, which we did. And then there's sometimes a more in-depth process after the fact called an RFP, request for proposal, which is a little bit more detailed. I think it seemed to John and I that given the fact that Matrix was the only one that responded and that individual board members were able to ask questions of Matrix directly to the people that would be handling this project, that it was not necessary to go and do another 2 to 3 month RFP process.
When Derek refers to John, he means John Altshow in this instance. Derek and John had worked hard with this proposal. We were also disappointed we didn't get more than one response, but the response we got, we thought was good. So
As far as the bid process, I mean, there's always been a distinction in my career as far as the construction process and having to go out to bid at a certain dollar threshold. I've always handled in my career professional services such as this in this manner. Going out to get a list of firms and being able to contact those firms, whether it be phone, email, letter, and try to get as many as you can to answer the RFP or the RFQ. So.
When the study is done, we will count on your cooperation, Mike, and I appreciate your offering it. And after it's done, we will share the result with the chief, with the union, and with anybody in East Goshen or West Town that's interested. I don't think that it's going to be a catastrophic, world-shaking result at the bottom of the study. Maybe it will be, but I don't think it will be. I would be surprised because as I've said to you in the past, one of the ways we judge the police department is by the amount of complaints we get from civilians, from the residents of our townships. And I don't remember the last time we had a complaint. So I am hopeful that this will be instructive and will allow us to manage the department the way we should, but it will give us more information. And frankly, I don't have all the information I want. So that's that. Any comment from the board? From anyone else in the room? I don't see any hands up, so I'm going to call a question. All in favor, signal aye.
Aye.
Aye. And no? Okay, 3-1. So it passes. That we will
We just have to wait for see what West Town does. on
see
that.
what West Town does, but it's a done deal. And I know, I usually don't try to speak for anyone else. But I know Michelle was in favor of this too. Although 3-1 is good enough. Okay, the next portion of new business is the dump truck replacement.
Thank you. So,
And
thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are scheduled to replace a 2011 dump truck in 2024. So it'll be part of the 2024 budget. Talking to Mark, the lag time on these dump trucks is about 18 to 24 months. So we are asking approval to kind of get on the list now. We don't have to put up any money right this second, but these are the numbers we're looking at. Is the on the Co-Stars, the Hunter Peterbilt was 166,242. If you combine that with the intercon truck equipment supply, which is needed for this dump truck, that would just be under 100 grand for 98,542. So the total for the dump truck and equipment would be $264,784. And again, we would not expend the money now. It would be a 2024 expenditure, but we need to get on the list now if we actually want a shot at getting it in 2024, but I still think we might.
And
get it in
this has
2025.
also been in the 5-year capital plan for a few
Correct.
years and
Mhm.
it's been slated for 24. We would expect we might have to spend the money, but we might not. It might be 25.
And
But
this does
I'll
not,
put it in the budget plan.
and this does not count any sort of trade-in we would get.
Correct. This is there's no trade in value.
Any,
Yep.
any idea of
Geez,
trade in value?
we've been doing pretty well. I'd be surprised if we didn't get.
Should I throw out a number? Because I know Mark, should I do it?
Let's say
Do it.
50.
Mark thinks we can get closer to like 70 or 80.
Yeah, yeah, that's. I'm
So,
not surprised.
I was hoping we get at least 60.
Now I'm on
So-
record, I guess,
so
but
we're-
that's the,
And we have funds for our capital schedule put away.
Correct.
How much do we have in the capital reserve?
We have about
4.8.
4.8,
4.8.
but we're also gonna get 350,000 for Hershey Mill Dam.
We have that coming to us.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought-
So we'll sit around 5 million.
All right,
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we give permission to Mark to order the Hunter Peterbilt and Intercon truck equipment for a total of 264,784.
I'll second.
thank you.
So
Questions or
what kind of
comments?
mileage we put in these things? And so the one that we replaced is a 2011. So it's an older truck. We keep our stuff pretty.
yeah. I can get back, I can get back to you on the exact number.
I don't know that it's the mileage as much as it is the plowing and things. That's why a lot of
Really
people
eats
don't
it up.
use pickup trucks
Yeah.
because yeah, I used to know a bunch of landscapers and doing construction and they would try and do landscaping and then do snow removal. And if they did, they would never do it again.
They're all,
It ruined all of their
They're-
equipment. Yeah.
there's also a little bit of idle miles, not as much as police use with idle miles, but there's some idle miles as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're
and
just-
it's also once they've got a really good feel because Steve Walker's a great mechanic on staff. And once we start bringing them in to send some of the intercom for repairs, that's when we know that we're going to the repair shop too often, it's time to get rid of them.
Okay.
And
I
it
was
works
just
within our
disappointed.
scheduled timing of the expected.
any between 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. It's just, these are eye-popping numbers when you see the way prices have gone up in the last 4 or 5 years.
That's true.
For sure.
Any questions or comments from the room? I don't see anything on Zoom, so I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Next, we have an appointment to the Conservancy Board.
Thank you. So yeah, we have had an open position on the Conservancy Board for quite some time. So Matthew McGeehan, East Goshen resident, contacted me back in the spring. And he was inquiring about the position. His resume is attached. I've talked to him a few times. I think he did, Eric, he did go to a meeting, right? Okay. Okay, so he is interested in being appointed. I think the chair, as I spoke with her, is in agreement. This is actually a term that ends at the end of this year, so he will be reappointed if the board is agreeable very shortly, but this is what the draft motion is to appoint Matthew McGee.
Mr. Chair, I move we appoint resident Matthew McGeehan to the East Goshen Conservancy Board for the term ending in December of 2023. And thank you, Matthew, for putting your hat into the ring and stepping up to serve on this ABC, this Conservancy Board.
I'll second.
All right, any questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Let me ask, who did we lose off the Conservancy Board?
No, it was a vacant.
It was a
position.
vacancy for a while.
Yeah.
For a while?
Or
Oh,
something.
okay, okay, good.
Yeah.
We filled it.
So we have Eric, we have Sandy,
Well, Eric and Sandy.
Go ahead.
oh, Walter,
Sound them off, Eric. No.
Eric, Sandy, Walter, and well, that's okay. So we'll have we'll be back to 5 members.
All right, I was just curious.
I think
Haven't
Scott's
seen
done.
Scott.
Yeah, I think he's done after this year, so.
Well, okay, how about standing issues and projects?
I'll handle the Pocket Park and Bow Tree Pond very quickly. I mean, that's basically kind of status quo. We're just kind of waiting for the fall to start both of them when Public Works has some more time. We're doing some paving right now, obviously, for the annual, 5 miles or so we do. So those are slated. No issues or anything have come up. It's just a matter of a timing with that. So on to the more fun one. And that is the Milltown Dam project. So we did, as I said in the last meeting, we did get bids back the day before the last meeting. So it's looking like it's just higher all around as far as how the bid came out, which is unfortunate for us, but we will be discussing it shortly. We're looking at needing the entire board to discuss this. So
Yeah.
my plan is to put it on the September 5th meeting. And I am going to probably next week put it out a letter to that neighborhood that I've been doing periodic updates. So I just want to let them know we're going to meet September 5th. And then they just kind of follow it on their own after that, because, I can't put a letter out every time we would meet on that. So they're just going to have to follow after September 5th and stay tuned in. But I am going to put that letter out. So the board will have ample time. I think we did put together an FYI for the board to just give some preliminary thinking about the finances, and we'll talk about that in public September 5th.
I have a request.
Sure.
Is it possible to put this information in a boiled down form on the website and highlight it? I'd like people to know about this before we hit September 5th.
Well, John, this memo right here from Dave Ware is a public document. So I don't know why we just
No, I was going to say, I mean, we could.
put this on, and maybe any other information that will further, educate us as we start to really,
Yeah.
vet this over the next weeks ahead and at the next public meeting.
So yeah, we could
But
put it
this
up.
is a- this is a
I mean, the
good
bids
summary.
are public.
The
So
format is really not my concern. My concern is that we let people know in the township that these fairly large numbers are coming down the pike and we've got to make some decisions.
Mhm.
I
And
don't,
this lays it out pretty good, John.
yes,
with
it
the
does.
percentage
I'm
increase.
not arguing with you.
Oh, no.
Mr. Chairman, do you mind if I just make two quick comments?
Go ahead.
First off, Dave, I can't believe this is 133% higher than what we estimated in 2018. That stood out to me. And then the second point is, I know I've called you all individually and harassed you about this, but I would encourage the board on September 5th for us to, Derek and Dave, if we're able to have the vote specifically for the dam portion that we have to get done. About what was it, the million,
Five.
the 1,000,005, or yeah, whatever we have to get done first and get that going right away.
actually, I'm glad you brought that up, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but real quick, I thought we had 90 days, but apparently the bids expire 60 days, which is September 17th, which is 2 days before our September 19th meeting. However, it seemed like the low bidder and the other companies, they're amenable to extending for 2 days. So we can potentially have 3 meetings to talk about this. We have the 5th. Technically, the 12th was supposed to be an all budget meeting, but hey, we have to talk about it. We have to talk about it. And then the 19th would be another meeting in order to talk about it. So that's, I mean, the board could talk about it as long as they want, but I'm just giving you the laydown of what the bids are good for.
I'd like to have dedicated time with the board. Public can certainly hear everything, but so that we have essentially a little work session, go through it ourselves, and then we open up to the public, but that we can try and hash this out and see if there is some consensus on a particular way to approach this.
Yeah, I agree. If it's possible, we all agree that we have to get the 1,000,005 or whatever that portion done. If we can just get that going and then figure out the park aspect after.
Well, I'm in the same queue with you right
Wait a
now.
minute,
great.
that's not what I heard Mike say, though. You wanted to have a session on this?
Well, I mean, if some dedicated time, absolute dedicated time that we don't rush through it at the next public meeting when it's on the agenda, that
Well-
we put 30 minutes or 40
Okay.
minutes or whatever.
The
John.
point I want to make is, this is not personnel and this is not legal.
No, he meant in a public meeting.
Oh, no, I meant in a public meeting. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
When I say work session, I mean, it's public, but the discussion is amongst the board. And then at the end of our discussion, we can open it up if there any public comment, but absolutely, this is a public matter.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah, I'm
Um,
all on board with
All
that.
the more reason we should get this out in front of people.
Yeah.
At least on the
I'll
website.
put it up tomorrow.
And
I
along those
appreciate that.
lines, I've also reached out to PFMAM, who helped us with the general obligation bond for 2017.
Yeah.
If the board did want to go out for more money, what would it look like cost wise? How would we wrap
Okay.
it? How would we fit it into our schedule? So I've
Can they
got
give
some
us the same
numbers.
interest rate?
They're
as,
already going to have to be,
2017?
there are, no, not 2.7, it's over 4%. And it's
Yeah.
pretty expensive, but I'll have them rework the numbers now that I've got a lot closer final numbers, and then also we just had another change in interest rate since I got that information, so
Yeah.
stay tuned.
All right, that's good. I am gonna jump the gun as usual. Cody, you mentioned possibly just doing what we have to do right away.
I just want to get that out of the way, but I do think there's a discussion warranted that a park aspect would be nice, but the grants are making us spend more money. As
Yeah, oh, yeah, I
I would like
understand
some
that.
type of a trail or some type of recreation down there. I just don't know.
I mention that because I am not against doing more for the Milltown Park at some time. I don't know about the rest of the board, but definitely not right away because of the cost. But I want to mention that for Dave's purposes, as he looks at other sources of money and what we have and what we don't have and who we can get it from.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have had internal staff discussions between the directors and management to see if we were to move forward in a more of a piecemeal way, what would Public Works be able to do? Who would oversee that engineering wise? What kind of timetable would it take? So a lot of moving pieces still, but we are having those conversations.
Okay,
This
good.
is a public request to Representative PLE, Senator Comita, Congresswoman Houlihan for an extra $1.5 million if possible. So-
Yeah, I mean, I could see a scenario where we do what we need to do with the dam breach. And then kind of repackage the grant application to do additional enhancements to the park at some time in the future, kind of call it a redo, if you will, of this whole thought process because
yeah.
of the cost and so on. So
And
I think you're
possibly-
right.
Yeah, and possibly a rebid of that some portions of it to our liking. And one of the caveats could be, and similar to what we did with the municipal authority, with our Hershey's Mill Estates sewer project now completed, because of the timing, because of an excellent bid and relationship of the timing of that bid and the bid amount, because of the seasonal work that they did, and a delay in the group that was awarding bids, et cetera, we for the bid or the grant, we essentially skipped it, and we said, it's getting in the way. And in this particular case, I know we've got a grant award, but with any grant, it's not free. And if we were to accomplish the major impetus for this project that started it all with the Army Corps and redoing the dam properly, the remainder of it, we talked earlier in the year about if the bids came in somewhere around 4.2 million, what could we do with our existing bond money slated for it and other funds to support that amount. And so I do want to pick it up with the board to say that if we forego the grant, so we can do it our way, possibly in a phased approach, but that the board can commit to whatever that net amount is over the base amount, this 1.5, what have you. And it's not going to stress our funds, that we then look to possibly rebid some of these park-like improvements if possible, see what Public Works can do to support those improvements. And just like we did the East Goshen Park, we phased it in year after year doing improvements. I would really like to see the basics get accomplished sooner than later, though, with the dam, stabilizing the whole area and a possible trail loop. I have discussed this a little bit with Mark Miller, the Public Works Director, to at least get that passive access for residents and improve the aesthetics as well as the requirements for the dam. But my sense is, I'll be real surprised. David, you said maybe we repackage and go back out for a grant. That'd be great. But I think this existing grant we're probably going to have to say that can't handle it right now. That's kind of some of my cards at the moment.
Just so everybody understands, what Mike is saying is, the existing grant, that we had for about $900,000 was wonderful, but we only get it if we do the whole project, and the whole project costs $5.5 million. So, they're giving us a little and taking a lot away. And I was going to say the same thing you said. We built up the East Goshen Park piece by piece. We put a bocce ball court in. We put the new pavilion in recently.
Oh, just one after another over 15 or 20 years.
It's always something new, and I think we can do the same
Yeah.
thing here. I agree.
But we didn't, the thing with East Goshen Park is that we didn't keep kicking things down the road. We said, let's phase it in and continue to build this community asset. Now, and the other thing is when people look at the percentage increase over the last 4 or 5 years of this project, whenever you do pre-bid estimates, the best of the engineering companies, and Gannett Fleming is a fine company. It is, no matter what kind of contingency you put into it, and I think they had a 25 or 30% contingency. You're going to be susceptible to getting hung up on that number when it's not a fully vetted number with real world time of bidding it.
Well, I think we need to keep in mind too, the original pre-bid numbers were
16.
pre-COVID. I mean, so-
Pre-COVID, a supply chain, inflationary pressure, all of that. And then the delays with the permits from both the Army Corps, the DEP. I don't know, we waited for that permit from the DEP for
Over 2.5.
over 2.5 years. That's something for Representative Congresswoman Houlihan and State Senator Comita to be attentive to say, look what you've done. Look what this has done to our local government and our taxpaying citizens to not only get a community improvement, but to the cost burden from this kind of delay in agency oversight. That's a big factor. So if we were to go back to Chrissy Houlihan and Carolyn Comita, both honorable and very vested, those are the kind of things to say, that's a culture that needs to change.
All right, thank you, Mike.
Can I just clarify one point, Mr. Chair? Just Mike had touched on the Hershey Mill Estates and not getting a grant for certain pieces. We didn't actually get the grant that we had gone out for. We were anticipating it from the CFA. They had yet to make a decision, and we went to the MA, and the municipal authority recommended this is too important a project to wait. Went out to bid, got a great bid. We didn't get the grant. We moved forward, so we saved money even if we would have gotten the grant.
Yeah, Dave, that's well said. And one of the little in the weeds aspects, the body that was supposed to award the bid, the earlier in it, when we were we thought we had timed it very effectively. They don't meet every month, as far as I understand.
Nope.
And the one, we were waiting for them to meet, and then they had no quorum. So they didn't meet, and then it was delayed another 2 or 3 months. And it was just that we couldn't wait because the one bidder who was low said, I can do it during this time period, but I can't commit to the bid after that, so I won't give you an extension on my bid offering. And it was a great price because that bid was for something like $880 or something. And the high bid was, I don't know, it was over $2 million among 6 or 7 bidders. So it was, and they did terrific work. So that was one of these agency things that we had no control over.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
But thanks for that clarification.
Sure. Derek has a comment to make.
No, any other matter, you can.
Okay, I want to say, I just want to shed a little sunshine here. This will be our second dam that we fixed up, and we have no more dams. So we don't have to worry about that anymore.
No more damn.
Okay, where are we? Any other any other matter?
So I have to ask our solicitor something really quickly, because I meant to remind the board when they made the motion about the study to maybe put a caveat in there, Mark, about pending solicitor comments or. Okay.
Looking at this agreement, West Town had comments, John.
Okay. So unless they're substantive, we don't have to come back. Yeah. Okay.
Assuming we're gonna have a meeting. Substantive division.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
And Mark, in
Excellent.
your review, you didn't see anything that looked afoul of the process we use to, okay. And again, with professional contracts and services, local governments have latitude. The bidding process is Derek referred to, is typically within the construction and equipment realm,
Correct.
not within these,
Right,
for
yeah.
legal, engineering, special consulting services.
That's correct. Unlike a dump truck, you have, any other issue depending on case. They seem to be entirely qualified.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thanks for that, Mark.
I have any other matter, and I wish Mike Ragney were still here. The police put on a terrific, show, what, Eric, David, you were there.
Is that the ice cream social?
Yeah, the ice cream
I'm sorry I
social. What
missed
date
that.
was that? I forgot the date.
It's like a Saturday, a week ago.
Friday night.
Yeah.
Or Friday,
It was very nice.
5 to 7, something like
Started
that.
at 5 o'clock and 7. They set up 2 booths, had police cars there, dog there. It was really nice, a nice event, and it started at 5 and about 6 o'clock. A lot of people came in, with kids and so on. So it was a very nice event.
Oh, good, good.
I
hoping-
enjoyed it and I got a squeeze ball.
Oh, how's your stress these days?
That stress is really low now, so I'm fine. But I just wanted to mention that and thank the police department. They did a great job.
Yeah, I'm pleased to hear that.
All
Sorry I
right,
missed it.
we're to number 13, public comment. Any public comment? Anybody on Zoom? No, okay. Liaison reports, I don't think we have any unless David, has anything been happening with the pipeline?
No, we haven't gotten any response that I'm aware of to our letter. Nothing new on the C2 pipeline. The only thing I'll mention is not our township, but another sinkhole over in West Whiteland Township. Near the Amtrak Railroad tracks, and they parsed topography there. Energy Transfer came in immediately and pulped it before the DP got there to inspect.
So Energy Transfer, it's implied that they were responsible.
Well, that's where they drilled, and they were responsible for all the other sinkholes. They had to acquire 5 houses on that street. They made a deal with non-disclosure agreements with those 5 homes and bought all 5 of those houses. So sinkholes were opening in the backyard. So that area, golf cart soil,
Yeah.
when you have storms like we've had, that aquifer moves around, the soil moves around.
It eats up that carbonate.
And not only are there 5 houses there, so Amtrak train tracks run right through that area, and that scares me a lot. Not to be an alarmist or anything, but hopefully people are paying attention to that.
All right, well, thank you for that report. I'm stressed again. I don't think we have correspondence or reports of interest, so,
In your fastest meeting yet, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
We're going to talk about the budget schedule.
Oh, yeah, hopefully,
Okay.
Mike,
Sure.
you had how many minutes to get to it?
I know.
Come on.
Well, no,
Philly's wrong.
Derek's schedule here, I was just gonna say it looks fine by me, but I'm retired, you're not, so it's fine by me.
Other than, normal board meetings starting at 7, but the other meetings are also all starting at 7 o'clock.
Or some may be starting.
I mean, that's what we were gonna do because it's consistent, but if the board wants us to do something different, that's fine as well. We can,
No, I'm fine to keep a consistent time frame
I'll
on
just
it
bring
as well.
some box of Joe that night and we'll.
Derek, do we have to publish this?
No, well, I'm going to, but it's not a legal requirement until we get the preliminary budgets.
Okay, thank you.
Should be smoother than last year.
Okay, now I may.
Don't say that.
But these will all be public meetings,
Yes.
but the schedule's fine.
Okay, Mike, are you okay if I go now? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.